Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. It is your boy Huey, and we are back on the Huey Show, episode number 9. I'm pretty sure you can tell based upon the quality. We are at home. We're not at the studio today. Like I said, that studio quality, it ain't cheap. But I decided to give y'all a good old pod in on this good old holiday. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever religion holiday you follow. Celebrate that. Celebrate with your family. Celebrate with your friends. If you ain't cool with your family, as I always say. But today we're gonna talk about some good old NBA, some good old NFL, and then we'll wrap it up with whatever I feel like. There's not really no set list for today. Usually, like I said, for my solos, I would have the Huey Show or oh, I'm blasting through my microphone, y'all. Hold on. There you go. Hey, much better. Like I said, usually I would have that style, but today I say nah, I'm good on that. So I'm gonna talk about football, right? It is a crazy time, a very wild time in terms of football when the Browns are considered to be playoff bound. And people don't seem to understand this. When I was sitting down and I was thinking about this, right? I'm doing my thing. Watching the game. I'm sitting here thinking, if Joe Flacco gets into the playoffs again and he turns into playoff Joe, he would have won on the old Browns teams, which is now the Baltimore Ravens, right? Check this out, y'all. He would have won on that team. And then this is a very big if. Very big if. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if it does happen, this is the storyline that would go off of. Not only did he win for the old Browns team, which became the Baltimore Ravens, he then won on the new Browns team coming off his couch at home because of the Deshaun Watson injury, which I do want to say it is unfortunate what's going on with him, but we do have to talk about that contract. How a man coming from home, who by the way, let's be very clear, Joe Flacco, I don't think anybody ever doubted his arm talent. Everybody knows Joe can throw that ball. He can spin that football. I don't think anybody ever questioned that. It's just he old, and the NFL isn't a old man's league. It's not a tennis. Actually, tennis isn't even necessarily an old man's league. It's not like I'm trying to think of like a golf or something like that. It's not that kind of place. So the fact that we're seeing Joe Flacco thrive under that Browns offense, and the defense of the Browns is of course doing their job too. Let's not pretend like they some slouches. But it's just wild. Seeing them now, to be fair, they did beat the Bears. So let's not act like they beat, like a Super Bowl contender or like the 49ers or the Chiefs or the Eagles or anybody within that realm. They didn't necessarily do that, but it is just really surprising seeing the Browns be where they are at. Hold on, am I a week behind? That's the wrong week. Hold on, y'all. I'm on the wrong week. No, that's the right week. That's the right week. Okay. I'm tripping. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Sorry, the Browns beat the Texans. I don't know. I was looking at the Monday. I'm wilding. Yeah, I'm wilding. Okay, sorry. The Browns beat the Texans. Still doing amazing. And what I still said before was true. Because the Texans really don't have their star QB who's going to be the MVP of the league. I'm just drawing a blank on his name. Rookie QB. He might be rookie of the year depending on how you see it. Unfortunate that he had that concussion. But he's still he's that guy. I want to see what he does in year 2. Now teams will have more film on him, so we're gonna see how he works when he's planned around and planned against. The Jets beating the Commanders. I'm gonna speak more on that. Because you can say I'm putting my Giants tinfoil hat on. You would be correct, but hear me out. It is possible, but I will discuss that. Steelers being the Bengals, not that surprising. What's his face? Who has been in a lot of media has decided to show out, but I do want to say this: two things can be true. a player can have and this is not to say he does have this. I'm just saying a player can have a temperament issue. Um, they can have a temperament issue and still be a great player. Like AB, as much as we want to say AB's this, AB's wild, and AB posted that picture of Tom Brady's wife, the whole 9 yards. As much as we say he's wilding sometimes and he has his, moments of like, yo, what is he talking about? He a lot of people have him in his have him in their top 5 or at least their top 10 of wide receivers. So it's not like to say he was a scrub. The Steelers have had great wide receivers. So I mean, to say that they can't get wide receivers isn't true. It's just that a lot of them often have some attitude to them. Seahawks beat the Titans. The Titans have been struggling all year, so we kind of know that. The Falcons have actually, I think they just, I think they were on a 2-win losing streak, and I think they just broke that. So congratulations to them. The Colts have actually been they've been a low key team that's probably gonna make the playoffs. I think, unless I'm mistaken. I'm trying to think who's in the Colts division. Let me Google. I'm trying. Hold on. Let me see. That's how you know I don't watch the Colts like that. Not defense division. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, they could still. Oh yes, the Jaguars who have been playing rough. They could definitely still make the playoffs. I think like I said, they still got 2 more games. So the Jaguars have been on a very bad decline. They started out the year pretty great, but just because you start great doesn't mean you finish great. And we are seeing that, unfortunately, in terms of NBA with the Pacers. But we're gonna talk about that. The NBA's, we're not even at the All-Star break yet, so they could also bounce back too. Packers beat the Panthers. That is expected. The Panthers are ass. Lions beat the Vikings. Also, congratulations to the Detroit Lions. They are the only thing that is making Detroit relevant. Because the Pistons, y'all boys some ass. But it is what it is. We will discuss the Pistons. But once again, I do want to congratulate the Detroit Lions. Eminem's probably over there celebrating because at least he has something blue to wear. Because I believe the Pistons also are red, blue, and white. So, they have some kind of blue to wear. It's just not that dark blue. It's that more, neon blue, that more lighter blue. Like I said, the Buccaneers beat the brakes off the Jaguars, and of course now, the Jaguars QB also has a little shoulder issue, so he might not even play next week. So it looks like the Jaguars are probably gonna be kicked out of the playoffs, or they make the wild card, but not with their main QB. So they pretty much become irrelevant unless they go on the Eagles kind of run, or they go on a Joe Flacco kind of run and just surprise everybody. Bears beat the Cardinals, but that's not that really surprising. Cardinals have been up and down. I mean, I know they got their QB back, and I think they've won a few games, unless I'm mistaken. No, it's still 3-12. But still a few. A few's more than one in my eyes. But still, I do know that they have the QB back, I believe, unless I am mistaken. Let's check his QB stats. Yeah. So Justin, nope, that's the Bears QB. There you go. Kyle Murray. I mean, he didn't have a horrible game. He went past 100 yards, I believe. Did he have any? I don't think he had any interceptions. I didn't watch this game. I'm not gonna cap. So here we go. 230 yards. So he didn't have a horrible game. His long was 38, 2 TDs, no ends, 63.2%. I mean, like I said, it's them boys' ass. I mean, nobody's worse than the Panthers though. I mean, North Carolina, a beautiful city, beautiful and growing state. But outside of that, y'all ain't got shit over there. Yeah, listen, Cowgirls. Now, I can't really talk. I'm a Giants fan. My Giants have been. But, we've been winning some games. We've also lost. I think our last game, unless I'm mistaken, we lost. Yeah, we lost. We're not going to speak on that 24-6. But listen, hear me out, though. The Cowgirls, you guys are always expected to do something, and you guys always fall short. So I laugh and chuckle, and me being a Giants fan, I just always gotta remember the Cowgirls of this. You can beat us all day in the regular season, But when it comes to the playoffs, who always loses to who? Check the stats, check the records. I don't need to say no more. You know what time it is. Every time it's come down to it, since you guys last been to the Super Bowl, we've put the hands on you, hands and feet, and have knocked you out the playoffs. But unfortunately, recently we've only gone to the second round and then got our ass knocked out. Or mistake. Sorry, we've gotten out the wild card, then got knocked out the playoff. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to going to the championships, to the Super Bowl, who's beating who? But anyways, yeah. So the fact that the Dolphins have actually beaten the Cowboys, that does kind of show that, all right, you can beat a winning team. You can beat somebody who is considered to be a Super Bowl contender, quote unquote. Because let's be real, the Cowboys will always be contenders in the Super Bowl because they do have the pieces. They just don't show up when it comes down to it. Just still like, all right, cool. Like I said, and this is gonna be quick, off topic, but when it's me by myself, the podcast will probably only be an hour. Because realistically, I can't talk for 2 hours. I can't entertain y'all for no 2 hours. I mean, I can do my damnedest. I can do my best. I can give y'all all this wittiness, but eventually, even your boy's gonna be like, all right, how many more stories can I tell? I mean, you gotta be honest with yourself. That's what I always tell people. I'm trying to think who else did I not get. Rams beat the Saints, but it is what it is. So what I'm gonna do now is make my predictions, and this is what I wanted to talk about. So Giants versus Eagles. Listen, if the Giants beat the Eagles, this is a conference game. These are division rivals, right? Anything can happen in a division game. So hear me out, Giants fans. Hear me out. And to those who are not Giants fans, I know what y'all saying. Oh, here go New York fans. They always talking. They always having this irrational faith. Listen, I'm a Knicks fan. I can be irrational as that. So hear me out. If we beat the Giants, or if we beat the Eagles, we can make the playoffs. Cause look. The Cowboys have a rough schedule, and if the Eagles lose to us, they're gonna be going into the playoffs cold. They can lose the next game, then we face them again to wrap the season. And if we beat them then, and the Commanders keep on losing games, that only says we can sneak into the wild card and then we can get it from there. I'm just saying, there's a possibility. If as long as we can win, and all, I went on what's that website? I don't have it up anymore. But there's a website to where you can do like Giants predictability, chances of Giants making the here we go, the New York Times. So we'd have to win against the Giants. The Ravens would have to lose to the 49ers, which I do kind of expect. The Bears have to beat the Falcons. Then the Giants have to beat the Rams, right? That's possible. That is possible. That can happen. Now this is where the issue becomes. The Eagles can beat the Cardinals. The Buccaneers would have to beat the Saints. That's possible. 49ers can definitely beat the Commanders as long as the starters play. The 49ers might rest their starters. If they do that, then there's a chance that we don't. If the Jaguars beat the Panthers, which I think at least they can do that. I do truthfully believe that. Steelers beat the Seahawks, and the Packers beat the Vikings. I think that can happen, right? And this is week 17, right? And the Bears would have to beat the Falcons, which is possible. I think that can happen, right? So then week 18, the Lions would have to beat the Vikings. That can happen. The Bears have to beat the Packers. Oh, I don't know. That's like one of those. I just don't know. But if it happens, and then we'd have to beat the Giants in week 18. Like I said, it's a divisional game. We know them. We know how they play per se. Anything is possible. I know what y'all saying. Take that tinfoil hat off, Huey. It's not happening. I gotta see it through all the way, my boy. Jets fans, y'all would be doing the same shit if y'all team wasn't y'all team. If y'all wasn't the Jets, I mean, really, to be honest, listen, and I always say this. What's a jet to a giant? I mean, I can't grab a jet out the air if I'm a giant. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. In week 18, like I said, the Lions have to beat the Vikings. Bears have to beat the Packers. Giants have to beat the Eagles. Seahawks have to beat the Cardinals. I can see that happening. And then the 49ers have to beat the Rams. That would get us the wild card. That's possible. That can be done. I'm just saying. Nobody's saying we don't get far. But if we can at least get that twilight. Now I know what y'all was saying, Huey. Are you stupid? Why are you trying to make the playoffs? You're not gonna get a good draft. Yes, you are correct. But I could at least talk to all those Jets fans, like my good homie Vanessa, my pops. I'm trying to think, all my cousins and all of them who are Jets fans. Then at least I can say, yeah, I was talking all that ish, talking about what Rodgers would do. He could do this, Super Bowl bound. So now I'm gonna be honest. My pops, shout out to him. He did say he didn't want Rodgers. He wanted Carr or he wanted somebody else. So I'll give him some leeway. He said he didn't want Rodgers per se. He wanted more of somebody that's younger, that's not so. Rodgers has had his fair bit of injuries. But he was one of those few. But the rest of y'all getting the business. I'm talking my shit, motherfucker. This is the Giants. This is our city, even though we're really in Jersey, but it has New York on it. It's New York's team, according to what it says on the back of that team. So that's what they rock. This is Giants territory. This is Giants country. Listen. I ain't never heard New York is the land of the Jets. I ain't never heard nobody ever say that. We got skyscrapers. We the land of the Giants, baby. Like, come on now. But neither here nor there. I gotta be honest. I'm a shoot for the stars, and if you land on the moon, I'll take it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say we're gonna win that. Chiefs should beat the Raiders unless the Raiders just go crazy on them boys. But the Chiefs, that wide receiver core has been they've been something. And I do think the 49ers will beat the Ravens. It's gonna be a close game because that Ravens defense is crazy, but that Ravens offense is a little bit there's Lamar does his thing. But I just don't know if they can be consistently, great all the time. There's just been something missing with them. They are 11-3, so I'm not gonna call them scrubs. Like I said, this is gonna be a good game. I'm probably gonna watch that at 8:15. I'm gonna make sure to put that on my watch list. But that is football. That is what I think is gonna happen. Like I said. Me being a Giants fan, I gotta see. I do have to see. I gotta give an attempt. I know what y'all saying. Huey, there's no way. There's so many things that have to go right. I know, but if they go right, I'm gonna look like a genius. Listen. Right, my old Rocket League team, they called me the Vision Baby because I can see it before it happens. I'm just saying, baby. I'm just saying. But they also called me Insanity because sometimes I try to do some shit and it didn't go right. But that's neither here nor there. Going to NBA, and I want to speak on the Timberwolves real fast. People have been asking why. Outside of Ja Morant not being on the Grizzlies, and he's been hooping. He's been killing it. He's especially against the Pacers. That man took that shit personal. And I don't even know what that's really per se about. But he came. He said, oh really? There's some new team in the East. Word, say less, and gave them boys the business. But I want to speak on it. People have been saying, oh, I thought the Grizzlies could play without Ja Morant. What happened? How come they had such a rough start? I don't think people necessarily know what the most of the lineup has actually gone to the Timberwolves. If you look at the lineup that won without Ja Morant on the floor when he was hurt, that was like, for instance, you had, and people underrate this. I think no, Mike wasn't there. Mike was on the Jazz, but like Jaden McDaniels, who's been balling. What's his face? Where is he at? I just saw him slow mo. That's his nickname, but I want his actual name. I cannot find. I know he's on his fucking team. Kyle Anderson. He was a very important piece. And you also lost what's his face. He's on the Wizards now. He's playing with Jordan Poole. That team but he's playing with Jordan Poole. You also had him, Tyler something. Not Tyler. I'm thinking of the person off the Suns. Let me look him up. You don't have the same core that was coming off the bench that you did now. I mean, that core is gone. So that's why that team struggled. When you don't have the same pieces, when you lose people like Kyle Anderson who help things run, when you don't have good vets, good bench pieces, stuff like that, you see what happens. A collapse happens, and that's what's happening. Now you have your star player back, so you should start winning more games, and that was expected. Let's not act stupid. I'm trying to pull him up. There he goes. Tyus Jones. That's his name. He's no longer on the team. So when you see that, that's why the Memphis Grizzlies now struggle. They don't have the same pieces anymore. Most of them are gone. So they're operating pretty much with people that they aren't used to hooping with. I mean, not hooping with, because some of those players have been on that team, but you also don't have Stevenson or that center. He's hurt, so he's not playing. I think he's out for the season. They also lost that other big man, Brandon Clark, I believe, who was getting them rebounds. He's out for the season, I believe, also too. So they don't have the same pieces, and they've lost a lot. But I want to speak on the Timberwolves. This is, I think, the reason as to why they're in first place. I want to speak on Rudy. I think the reason as to why we're seeing such a resurgence in his defensive and offensive game, defensive particularly, when you think about it, on the Jazz, Rudy was their defense. Rudy had to switch on all the guards. Rudy always had to switch. Rudy couldn't really just stay in the paint. He'd have to come up and switch on the perimeter, and that's why Curry would always cook him on the perimeter when he was on the Jazz, because he'd have to switch on him, or he would get cooked by, let's say, a CP3 or something like that, because he'd have to switch. Early into his, last season or the last two seasons with the Memphis with the Timberwolves, he was really their defense. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns wasn't playing like that. He was all injury prone. Anthony Edwards hadn't really developed his defense. That was my one criticism of Ant. Was that his defense was pretty mediocre. Then it became average last season, but then it was kind of bounced between average and then mediocre. Then sometimes he would shine, and then he would go back to mediocre. So it was just inconsistent. Now he's more consistent. You also have the development of Jaden McDaniels, great defensive guard. Shake Milton, another good defensive guard. Naz Reid, who's not necessarily a great defensive guard, big, but he's able to space that floor out. He's been very dynamic, and he has been hooping. He really well. A lot of people do fear him. You have Troy Brown Jr., another great defensive player. So he no longer has to wander. He can kind of play his position, which is more mid-range to paint. He can back up below that free throw line and play it, and he can help Cat because he no longer has to worry about playing that perimeter. He doesn't have to worry about sagging off that corner anymore because he knows, all right, I might have a Jaden McDaniels. I might have a Troy Brown Jr. Mike Conley, he's an average defender. He's not great. He's average, but he can still do his job. Shake Milton, he can also rely on. You also have some great vets. Wendell Moore, he's not a vet, but he has been on several teams, so he can kind of see. I'm tripping. that was a reach. Mike Conley, he's a good vet. Rudy, of course, been in the league for a long time. Shake Milton is coming off the Sixers, where they've been having developed a winning culture. Take a quick sip. So they have been developing something, and now you're seeing it all win. Everybody is relatively healthy. I know, I don't like to speak off of court shit. I think what's also helping with Ant's whole baby mama thing. I'm not gonna speak on that. All I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna say this, right? When you first get your hand burnt on the stove, we give you some leeway. All right, you learned your lesson. You get your Band-Aid, you get your ice. They warm it. They say, all right, you learned your lesson. If you keep burning your hand, or let's say you saw your brother burn his hand, and you go follow up and burn his hand, I mean, and you see other players that have continuously do it and had other baby mamas in the league. You've seen players have baby mamas with the baby mothers of other players. I can't blame the stove for being hot then. And I can't blame the stove. After a while, I gotta start looking at you. I gotta start looking at the player. But that's where I'm gonna end it. I understand sometimes they get fooled. That can happen. But after a while, you gotta start looking at who y'all mess with. And I get it. It's Instagrams everywhere. You see something you trying to holler at, you can just slide in the DM and get that. But you gotta look at it. You're a brand. But that's where I will end it. I think, like I said, they've had pieces develop, and this is going back to the Timberwolves. They have had pieces develop, and they're seeing it now. They are blossoming. I want to speak on the Pacers. Oh, sorry, not Pacers. OKC. They are hooping over there. Shy has been hooping. Like, he is looking like he's fighting with Curry right now for, as a guard. Oh no, that's right. They made it positionless, so I think he might get either put in as the first team or the second team. Some people are saying, this is a reach, and I heard this off of It Is What It Is, and what's his face corrected him and said it's only been a couple games now, but he said he had him third team. I think Cameron, the Knicks legend. I'm just forgetting his name. It'll come to me eventually. They're putting Ja as a third team. I do want to speak on Zion, but I just want to finish with OKC. Chet Holmgren has been hooping. I don't want to consider him a rookie. I understand what the rule says. He didn't play. I do get that. But I can't consider him a rookie because he's had time to see the background, to see the behind the scenes, to see what you wouldn't have seen if you're just coming out of college, to see the work and hustle of what a franchise or when a franchise is developing winning culture. When you get to see it and you get consumed and you buy into it, you get to see them blossom. And I just want to make a little correction on what I was saying when it comes down to the Shaq versus Heat Shaq versus Tim Duncan. The reason as to why I said they're not comparable as to a Hakeem versus a younger Shaq, I'm saying and they're not. Tim Duncan, I think at that point had already had a ring, if I'm not mistaken. Tim had already won, and I understand people will say it was a lockout season, but he had won already. So I'm not saying Shaq's not gonna get his, but and Hakeem. I don't know why I keep saying Hakeem. Yeah, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. I'm bugging. Hakeem beat him and then won again. Tim Duncan had already won. So that's why what I'm saying is that Shaq would have been older. A young Tim Duncan, was giving motherfuckers the business. Tim Duncan is arguably the greatest power forward of all time. Some would say it's not arguable, but a lot of people would have him. He's either one or two. A lot of people do put him there. So without a fact, to say that Tim Duncan would not have gone off on Shaq would have got his buckets. Let's not be stupid. Shaq was an unstoppable force during his time. There was nobody that was going to stop Shaq from at least getting 25 and 10. If you knew he was going to get his numbers. But to say that Tim Duncan in his youth, people forget Tim Duncan was a defensive juggernaut. Him and Kobe were both players that operate on both sides of the floor at a high level during that time. So to say that Shaq wouldn't at least have some issues, even Shaq admitted, hey, Hakeem, he gave me problems, but I also gave him problems. It would be the same thing. But I don't know just how Tim would have gave Shaq issues. I'm just saying. And same thing, like I said, it would have been who can outscore who, and whose bench is gonna outshine whose other bench. Because I just don't see those two are gonna cancel each other out. But the Clippers have been hooping. I know they just lost on Saturday, but they have been hooping. That lineup has started to gel. Tyronn Lue, he said he needs 10 games. In less than 10 games, he got the motherfuckers to gel. So I will give him his credibility. Kawhi has also been balling. It's been looking like the old Kawhi. Maybe not in terms of scoring proficiency, but he's definitely stepped up in key moments. Same thing with James Harden. He's had a few games that he's been hot on fire, and some would say he looked like Rockets James Harden, but let's be honest, we're not going to get that back. That was something you had to be there and witness. The only unfortunate thing with Rockets James Harden is he never unfortunately could get to that point of being in the getting the chance to win a ring, because Curry was going off. I'm trying to think who else. The Clippers, even though he beat the Clippers. They were also going crazy. Jazz weren't really ever relevant. So I'm trying to think. Sacramento wasn't relevant. Like I said, it was mostly Warriors, Rockets, Clippers. Not really. Grizzlies could have. I think they were still doing their thing sometimes. Lakers weren't really doing too much. I don't think off the top. I'm talking about the time to when the Warriors were doing their thing. Portland, but they never beat Portland. So it's Portland beat them. I think no. Yeah, Dame time. But the Nuggets beat the Hornets, but the Hornets don't have what's his face. Magic beat the Pacers. Yo, the Pacers, y'all need to get together. You guys had that high of the in-season tournament, and then all of a sudden y'all shit the bed. Tyrese was balling, and that's not to say he's not, but let me pull up his numbers real quick. In terms of his last 4 games, and I'm not talking about all the season. Last 5 games. 17, 11, and 2. Listen, you've been balling. So let's see. So against Washington, he had 19. That's not acceptable. Come on now. Clippers, I get it, 8 points because you got Kawhi, you have PG. He's a guard. He's stuff like that. You might get a little clamped up, but if you're supposed to be the star guard of your team, you gotta step up. Who's that? Charlotte. You can't have 19 against Charlotte. I need more than that. You can't. I mean, he still has. I will say this. He still is having 11 assists, but let me see his turnovers. Where is he? You can't have 4 turnovers. That's not acceptable. And like I said, I get. He's been on a high. He's had I think 20 and 15 with no turnovers. But the fact you start to rack up, that's what in the last 4 games, 4, 8. So he's at around 16 turnovers the last 5 games. That's not acceptable. You got to reel that back. He's shooting less than 20. Against the Clippers, I understand at 25%. Like I said, you're playing against Kawhi, PG. That's gonna be a tough matchup regardless of any kind of guard. But 42%. But then he's also shooting 20. You're shooting less than 35%. That's rough. That's rough, dog. I get against the Clippers, you shot 20%, like I said. 33.3%, 33.3%, and then 16.7% against who? The Memphis Grizzlies. That's not acceptable. That's not. You can't shoot that. That's just ridiculous. Let me see versus. So he had 29 against the Magic. So he's starting to make a comeback. 29, 15. Oh, I got an advertisement. Are you serious? There you go. So, sorry about that. So, 29. Come on. I'm just trying to go down. There you go. Cool. 29, 15. I'm trying to see what was his turnover. So, it's still 3 turnovers, but that can kind of outweigh that. But still, that whole team has been struggling. I think they're in the playing spot after being second or third place. They were a very entertaining team to watch, so I will tell you that. They were very entertaining. The Orlando Magic have been hooping. They've been consistently hooping. I guess that Olympics run for what's his face, the brothers that's on that team, they've been hooping. Paolo, I think his name is. I cannot say his full name. He's been hooping as well over there, so he's doing his thing. But I want to say this, and this is not about the match. This is about the Pelicans. They seriously need to get that weight under control for Zion. I kind of get what everybody's saying. He's operating off his talent, and the thing is, you don't have that same dominance of Shaq. He has the capabilities to be a Shaq, or to be a Charles Barkley, but he doesn't have that overall. Like Shaq was a force. Like, there's nothing you can do about Shaq. But that's not the game anymore. So what I mean is they are correct. He's operating completely off talent, and that's all in fine and dandy when you're young. But you're not even staying in shape. You need to at least be in shape. And I know some people just gain weight. Some people just he could be drinking water all day, and some people just gain weight off that. And it's not the easy thing to do, but you gotta try. You're getting paid. Lord knows how much money. I need to see some effort on that end. There's no reason for you to be struggling like this. It's not acceptable. You get paid, Lord knows how much. Lord knows how. Hold on. Let's pull up his Zion Williamson contract. I want to see what his contract is. You're about to pull it up. $197 million, but I think he just lost some guaranteed money because I think they said he didn't play last season games or something like that. So he lost some guaranteed money. But you get paid $197 million. I need you to be better. Like, you might be great as a person. I'm not saying as a person Zion might be great. I don't know. You know, he had that whole thing with that woman, with that porn star, Mariah Mills. But I think she's just salty that she lost a whole bunch of money. I think she's mad she just lost the bag. But people are saying maybe he should have kept her because maybe she was the reason. Maybe she was the reason he was in shape. That's what people were saying. That's a little wild, but I'm just repeating what I have heard. I'm just repeating what I have heard. But I'm not saying he's not a great person. He might be a great person. Hell, he won a life. That man making $197 million. I wish I could make $197 million. I wish I could. Shit, and maybe one day I might. Shit, if I can, I will. I will Mr. Beast this bitch up. But I gotta based upon your talent on the floor and your skill set on the floor, I gotta base upon what your contract says and what I need you to perform at. Your contract says MVP. Your contract says All-Star. Your contract says double. Your contract says 20 plus points per game, at least 10 rebounds, and maybe 1 or 2 assists. Your contract says maybe a block a game. That's what your contract says to me. If you make more than 150, I need a certain amount. Now, we gonna talk about the Celtics because Brown, you make a certain amount of money. I need you to hoop way more than you are. I'm not saying he's being, he's underperforming his contract per se. His skill as an NBA player, he's up there. But his contract says one thing, I'm gonna get to him. But at the same time, I need more. I need more. I do need more. I can't accept what he has given us. You've seen him in the in-season tournament. I know people are saying, "Oh, who cares?" That doesn't matter. That is a playoff-esque atmosphere. I have to count that as what you might do in the playoffs. I need more than that. And right now, for what people are saying, this is what people are saying. I'm not saying it's true. These are rumors. He's trying to get his way out to a bigger market. But the thing is, if you go to a bigger market, the bigger the city, the brighter the lights, the more problems you have, the more they shine. I'm just saying. So keep that very much in mind. If you move to like a New York, a Boston, an LA, anything like that requires you to that pushes you to the media, you best ball. Or Miami, you best hoop. Because they're gonna talk about you. Especially Philly. Oh, Philly and New York. Oh yes, you best believe. If your ass is big, they're gonna start posting. They're gonna Photoshop your face on Fat Albert. Trust me, New York don't play that. New York is not the one for that. They don't do that. The Hawks have been very confusing. Very confusing. They've been very much a middle of the line team. I would have thought they maybe show some improvement. I was hoping that coach would do something for them. But this is starting to be very concerning. They're staying average. And in the NBA, if you stay average, you don't go nowhere. But the Hawks have always been like that, even in like the 90s and the 80s. They've been very average. I don't know what's going on with them. They can't seem to get something rolling. I don't know if it's Trae Young. I don't know if him being so ball dominant is helping the team. I think they started off pretty well, but they just haven't been hooping. Like I said, 12 and 17. I don't know what's going on with them. I truthfully don't know what's going on with them. I still can't stand them bitch ass motherfuckers because they took my Knicks out. But at the same time, I can't really explain that. I just think there's something wrong there. I would think them having Trae and the defensive guard that's next to him. I just can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank. I would think they'd be balling, but they just ain't. They just ain't doing what I thought they would do. The Celtics, Jaylen Brown hasn't necessarily been underperforming. I think I could pull up his stats. Let me pull up his stats real quick. I don't think he's been necessarily horrible. Last 10 games. I want to do last 10. Yeah, he's, like I said, 24, 4.9 rebounds, 4.2 assists. He hasn't been horrible. It just isn't to what his contract is. Let me pull up his contract. Jaylen Brown's contract. Now, he just got an extension. I'm pretty sure he got a max extension. Now, like I said, they just had a good game, but I'm talking about overall, right? Wait. Yeah. So he signed a $304 million contract with the Celtics. I need that 24, and I understand you got Jason Tatum on the other side. I get that. I'm not arguing that. I understand he has to at least be 30, but I need that 24 to be at least 27, 28. Let me see what he's averaging for the season before I continue. Let me see. I like to find StatMuse because StatMuse just gives me just straight up stats. 22.8 and $304 million extension for the season. You know, now, hold on. Excuse me. Now listen. That don't match. That does not match. I need that to be 27. 26, 27. 4.9 rebounds, 3.7. I need those. I need that assist. He is a shooting guard. I do get that. But that assist per game could be probably 5. Rebounds I get is 5. That's close enough. I can accept that. What is he shooting? 33.9%. That's not acceptable. That's not good enough. Now, I need that to be 36. I need that because you're not, your contract says one thing and you're not underperforming as an overall talent in the NBA. I will never say that. He is giving us starter numbers, but he's not giving us that contract numbers that I need from him. I'm Jason Tatum. We gonna speak on him, but to me, and this is just to me, I'm telling y'all my opinion. I'm not an NBA star. I was never an NBA talent. I wasn't a talent in high school. I wasn't none of that. I'm just telling you from my point of view, from the games that I've watched. What makes teams go to the finals and win championships is the second player steps his game up as much as the first player does. You don't have to be necessarily equal to the first player, but if Shaq's averaging 35, Kobe's 23 becomes a 28. So that's what I mean by you got to step up another level. And to me, Jaylen Brown just isn't. He's stepping up sometimes. Like in the last final, believe it or not, I think in the NBA Finals, in some of the games, Brown outshined Tatum. But then Tatum would have an off game, so then it wouldn't matter. They still lose. That's what I mean by There's been moments, but right now he's just underplaying that contract. That's not good enough for me. That is not good enough for me. I need more than that. We're gonna speak about Tatum because I think Tatum is due for his contract, unless he got extended already. I'm just forgetting. Hold on, give me one. Oh, I didn't mean to blow into the mic like that. My fault, y'all. Okay, that's a breakdown of his contract. See that? Okay, so right now, he's on a rookie scale max extension, which is 163 for 5 years. But allegedly, his upcoming contract extension will be $295 million. So Tatum right now, I think he's averaging 29 a game, 29 something a game. So he is overperforming his contract most definitely. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. But once he gets that contract boost, his okay, so he's averaging 26.9. Ooh, I thought it was at least 28. But he's still exceeding his contract. His rookie contract, he's still exceeding it. He's hooping 26.9, almost 9 rebounds a game, almost 5 assists a game, being a small forward. He is. I think sometimes they move him to shooting guard too. So he is doing his job. And I believe he should be shooting around. Okay, yeah. See that? So 35.2. Career regular season is 37. He's a 47, almost 50%. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He's performing above his contract right now. But when he gets that extension, I'm gonna have to see that jump up to the 30s. It's got to jump up to the 30s. It can't be in the 27s anymore, because like I said, when your number goes up, when your money contract reaches that 200, 300, you gotta start hitting like MVP. Like, I need you top 3 MVP. That's why Embiid, Joker, I know they got that money, boy. That's why Stephen Curry got that money. So same thing with LeBron. That's why LeBron always gets that money. Sometimes LeBron takes less money in order to help build his team. Just a lot of people don't realize it. But usually he will get his money. I think the last time he did that was with the Miami Heat, which is when he took a little bit less. Same thing for D Wade. The Warriors, the Warriors, they I think that Draymond situation has been kind of killing them. Has been taking the air out their sails. So that really hasn't been helping. But I think they'll get together. They beat the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, that's the Trailblazers for you, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you anymore. The Mavericks beat the Spurs, but that's the Spurs. I think the Spurs have a point guard issue. They need to figure out a way to continuously get that ball. Because to get that basketball to Wemby. Sometimes they miss Wemby on wide open alleys, wide open passes when he has a small guard on him and he's in the post. They don't want to give him the ball. I think they have more of a point guard and just finding Wemby problem. They need to figure it out. I think he rolled his ankle, so I don't even think he played last night. I don't think, unless I'm mistaken. But sorry, not against the Lakers. Against the Mavs. I don't think he played against against Luka. Sorry about that. I was looking at Lakers versus Thunder. I don't think he played, but still, I just think they have a guard issue. They need to find somebody who's used to looking for the star play. Like I think Russell one time said it when he arrived at the Wizards. He said, "Why the fuck are you not getting what's his face the ball? He's the best player on the team. He should always have the ball." Like, what are y'all doing? I think it's that kind of situation. You just got to get that play that's going to straighten the team out. Lakers beat the Thunder. The Lakers have also been on a downhill kind of spot right now, but I think they'll get it figured out like they always do. But I don't consider them to be guaranteed finalists and to go to the finals. I can see them get bounced out in the second round. That's me being honest. And I stand by that AD topic. He's either gonna be an all-star starter or he's coming off that bench. One or two. He might start. If LeBron wins out, he might start. Yeah, I think I'm playing because Joker might not get picked, not because he's not a champion, just because his game does not suit the All-Star game. The All-Star game is about being flashy, and Joker is flashy for the regular game, but in terms of All-Star game, that's just not. He's not gonna do a 360 dunk. That's just not him. The Pistons, y'all some ass over there. I don't even know what to tell y'all, motherfuckers. You got the Lions doing so well for once in their lifetime. The second they're good, y'all want to be 2-20 what? Like a 22-20, 2-27. Y'all for real? Y'all dead ass. Like, with the 26 straight loss, you guys might be the worst team in NBA history. And that's saying something, because I think the Hornets, or was it the Pelicans at the time? Either the Hornets, the Pelicans, something like that, or the Bobcats. I think it was the Bobcat. Y'all some ass, like for real. Like I don't even know. You guys have all that young talent, and y'all just cannot. I mean, some of it hurts. I think there's a few players that's down there that are hurt, but y'all some ass. Like, and I don't mean because most NBA players will give, actually all NBA players that play in the NBA will give the average Joe the business. Will give most college players the business. Y'all ass. Like, if this was like European football, y'all would have got deregulated for sure. Cause y'all ass. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Y'all need to figure some shit out. I don't know if you guys do something. You guys gotta build through the draft again. Cause Cade, I heard is hooping, but he's not playing defense from what I've been hearing. I don't know. I haven't really been looking at them like that, because every game I try to watch of them, I fall asleep on. The Nets have actually been balling a little bit, but 14 and 15. They have I like Cam Thompson. He's hooping, but I want him. He's been a more offensive drug. Now he's been playing average defense, not amazing, but average. So if he makes that jump like how Ant did, all right, he's gonna become more. I like defensive guards. He'll become more into my line of vision. But until then, he's just gonna stay over there. Like I said, if the Nets can keep doing what they're doing and keep growing, I can see them doing something. I can see them doing something. The Jazz, we're not even gonna speak on them. They've always been that kind of team. They're gonna be kind of like mid-ish. They're not gonna be in the playoffs. They're probably gonna be outside of it, but they're not gonna be no Pistons. They're not gonna be no Pistons. The Rockets have actually been a little bit confusing for me. Only because it's like I'm trying to think of the best way to explain this. They have enough talent to be good, but they don't have enough talent to be great. So it's like in the NBA, what's the point of you making the playoffs if you're not gonna win it, and you can't really bring in any external talent? Not to say that Houston isn't an attractive destination. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have the Mavericks with Kyrie and Luka, and then you got the Rockets. I mean, yes, they have Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, and Dillon Brooks is known for his villainous attitude than anything. That doesn't make him a bad person. I want to be very clear. That just means he's doing his job. He's as a competitor, you have to compete. You gotta get it. If you have to get into a dude's brain and mind trick him like a Jedi, that's what you gotta do. But it is what it is. I just don't see that being a more attractive destination than maybe the Mavs. They're definitely more attractive than the Spurs right now. Currently, I'm just saying currently, not overall. As a history, the Spurs have just attracted guards, and they've also drafted well. So I mean, you gotta call it like that. But the Bucks, they beat my Knicks, so I'll take that L. But they have not been hooping like people have been expecting. People have been expecting a lot more, and we just didn't get what we thought we were gonna get. We didn't get what we believed would happen. So that is a little bit of a concern. They have been. I want to see what they do after All-Star break. Maybe they get some more. Maybe they get some time off. They come back. Maybe they gel more. We've seen that happen, but the opposite can happen. They can come back and be even worse. Think about the Clippers in the bubble. So, you never necessarily know. But there's just been something odd going on with that team. There's been something weird going on. I mean, I think they're back in first, or they're almost back in first in the East. Either the Celtics are in first, but they're close. They're not far behind. But yeah, let me look at the standings. They're not that far. Unless I'm tripping. Yeah, they're second. So, they lost one more game than the Boston Celtics. The Sixers are 20-8, so that means they're 2 wins off and a loss in. But yeah, Orlando, Miami, and New York. Those are the teams that are just battling to stay in. But at the same time, like I said, I just don't know what's going on with them. They are performing well enough to make the playoffs because they got Dame. If they didn't make the playoff for Dame and Giannis, that's a problem. There's something going on. But it could be the coaching. I don't think it's the talent. There's just something, Chris Middleton not being consistently there too with his knee problems. He's been having some issues, so maybe that could play a part into it. But there's just something that's just a little bit off with that team, and I gotta call it spade to spade. But maybe they'll figure it out after All-Star break, or maybe they'll figure it out next year. They need a year to gel. Not all teams do it perfectly. Miami Heat, they didn't do it perfectly, so let's give them maybe give them this year. If they don't do it this year, give them the next year. But if they don't do it the next year or the following year, you gotta start looking at that team. But like I said, give them some time. They'll probably figure it out. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Around 54 minutes. Trying to think, is there anything that's really necessarily on my mind that I can wrap up? Like I said, they're probably gonna be only an hour. I can only talk for so long, y'all. I ain't gonna cap. I can't do an hour pod by myself because at least I can breathe when there's another person. I can take a breath because somebody else can kind of pick up. Um, is there any nerd shit that I want to discuss? That's really what I'm trying to think of. Um, I don't think so. You know, nah, this is not. Nah, there's not that I can think of. So I might wrap it up there because I don't think there's anything nerd related that's really gonna get me going. Hmm. No. So yeah, we'll call it wraps there. Like I said, this has been an hour episode. I believe this is episode 9. Episode 10 might be an hour or two. It might be an hour 30. All depends on what I have as a set topic. I just don't have anything because it's not really too much going on necessarily right now. It is a sports season, but I only watch maybe football and NFL, and that's really been my main mind. I mean, I'm not a college football guy. I only watch March Madness really when you get to the Sweet 16. Even then, I'm barely watching it. Once you get to that Final Four, that's when I tune in. So I'll probably be able to talk about that after NFL. And definitely after NFL wraps up, and probably a part of a way into the NBA. So like I said, we'll see how it goes. But this has been your boy Huey. Thank you for watching the show. Hit your boy up. Don't be afraid to email me at alstonkaleb@gmail.com. That is in the description. I'm gonna try to start doing some more solo ones when I can. Like I said, this is the holiday one. I decided to give y'all something so I could say I gave y'all more than one podcast. Sorry about the late upload on the last podcast for Spotify. Took a little bit more time, but we got that up there. So, work in progress, always working. But yeah, I will see y'all next time. Peace.